From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big morning of early mornings LA, direct from Santa Monica with your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we go over that incredible recon, as the recon has been, in essence, virtually done. The recon could now be kept to a vote as early as next week. The latest details breaking on early. Then, we cut to the new poll that says Americans don't know what's in that recon. What are Democrats trying to do? Then, the price is right. It may head to more to the $2 trillion range. I thought it would head to the 1.9. I had the latest details on the running of the programs. Programs in, programs out. We go over the rundown. What programs survived yesterday? Which programs could still get modified over the finish line? Then, student loan debt. More debt could be forgiven, and more debt will be forgiven. What does this mean for you, and whose debts are coming up next? Then, the big raise across the board. COLA raise, 5 to 6%, but we aren't done there yet. There is additionally a fifth stimulus provision and body of law coming right behind it. And then we turn back to the first 1.5 years of this channel as it turns 1.5 years old tomorrow. I have the latest details across the board and 140 million views. It's a big, bold, beautiful early mornings broadcast, as your recon has been functionally finished for now. But what does this mean for you? I have all the latest details of what went out, what went in, what got modified, and yet no provision about bacon. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and the bacon stimulus is still not in there. And this is Early Mornings LA. I hope you're having a beautiful early morning. And boy, we had a lot of breaking news as the recon may have been functionally finished yesterday, but they could be working on today. I expect them to be working today and tomorrow as well. LA told you so. Americans don't know what's in that recon. How are they going to change this? I'll explain what's going on. Then the price is right. Likely to come around $2 trillion, but may come into 1.9. Student loan debt and more money in and out. Which programs went in? Which programs went out? I have the latest rundown. Yes, more debt could be forgiven. Whose debt is next? Then the COLA raise. More cola and less Pepsi. But guess what? Fifth stimulus is right around the corner. And then we look over the last year and a half of this channel. What have we learned about ourselves and a community? I have the latest details as that bird is looking for my bacon. It's an early mornings broadcast that starts right now. So subscribe. For 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. You ain't going to see anywhere in broadcast media the breadth of the coverage today across the channel as I go over all the incredible programs in, out, modified, increased, that'll pay you about $15,000 in this fourth stimulus recon. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Let's cut right to this incredible recon that is now happening. It'll pay viewers this channel about $15,000. $15,000, stay with me, because as soon as it becomes law, I'm going to show you how to get all these sums of money. First, we need to know what the sums of money are. And in this recording, we're going to go over them. We're going to go over each of these items. This is $15,000 approximately for people who are on disabilities, not on disabilities, seniors, not seniors, people with children, not with children, red states, blue states. This is nationwide. And they initially passed these provisions in 3 clusters in a subcommittee. Some provisions stayed in there. Some got removed. Some got modified. Let's go over the details and what the latest update is right now. Here we go. Cluster number 1, hazard pay and $4,000 of elder care. I call this affectionately the cakewalk cluster because the stuff in this cluster seems to survive. We're hearing that hazard pay is still in there so far. This is the earned income tax credit, broadening the eligibility and making it a lifetime, increasing for those essential workers. Then up to $4,000 of elder care, huge per year. Up to $4,000 of money for the young children per year as well, caring for them. College grants to universities and to the students, we're also hearing still in there as well. Then the money for the home repairs we're hearing are still in there as well. This is the money for repairs in a low-income community. But one provision definitely getting modified. The child tax credit, not going to be $51,000, not going to be lifetime or 18 years or 5 years. It will likely be 1 year, which will be about $3,600 or $3,000. They got money in there for cars, bikes, and trucks as well. And that is reportedly still on staying there as well. That's up to $7,500 for a new electric car. Personal use, a little bit more for business use, and 15% for purchase of a new electric bike. Let's go over those add-ons. The first add-on comes from Maxine Waters. $25,000 for the purchase price of a new home. First-time home buyer. No real update about this. Do I see it going in there? Don't know. Maxine Waters has a provision already in there. $200 billion for rent assistance. I don't see it staying at that number. Too rich. Third stimulus had a $47 billion. I see her being reduced down to about $50 or $60 billion, not staying at $200 billion. Let's turn to the second cluster checks, see if those survives. Let's go over what's in that second cluster. Here we go. Reddit, I am. Paid leave. Oh boy, here comes the Nancy Pelosi provision. Paid and family leave. Childcare credits. Medicare benefits. Free kindergarten, totally free. Tuition-free community college. And then weatherizing your home. Which of those provisions in jeopardy? Which one's not? Let's go over the details. Weatherizing your home definitely staying in there so far. We haven't heard anything about it. You need to weatherize yourself against bad news. You need to weatherize yourself against, Kristen Sinema. Weatherizing your home is apparently still in there. But tuition-free community college, a battleground. Definitely not going to be 18 years. Definitely not going to be lifetime. It'll either be in there or it'll be 2 years or less or out. So study quickly. It's likely going to be 2 years or out. Then paid family leave, medical leave. That is the Nancy Pelosi diaper line. Nancy Pelosi said, I have to have this provision in there because I've changed more diapers than anyone else in this room. That's before Mitch walked in. Yeah. And I assume she's referring to baby diapers, but that is your second cluster. Now, the second add-on comes from the legislator himself, the Democrat from Pennsylvania, Bob Casey. He wants to provide $250 billion for home health care. Wonderful. For people who can afford home health care, or for people on disabilities, or for people who are seniors. $250 billion out of a $2 trillion recon happening? Oh, no way, Jose. That would be 1/8 of the recon. Not happening at the price tag. Certainly could happen. I don't know how he would cut it. Maybe do it for less years or just less money. I don't know how he's going to cut it or change the eligibility. But definitely not working at that number. They got to change that number. No update about that as well. Which brings us to the most illustrious of all the clusters. The cluster, that word. It's such a cluster, that word. It's this one, the third one. It is Battle Royale. It's like the James Bond movie with less Bond and more James. Here we go. Free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, checks for farmers, checks for free internet, checks for clean energy, checks for workers and independent contractors, checks for Medicare expansion, dental, vision, and hearing care. Okay, what's going on with that cluster? Or as I would say, is anything left from that cluster? Yeah. So the cheaper prescription medication solved. We don't know how it's solved. It was a Sinema problem. It's either removed or it's been amended. I think it's been amended. The Bob Casey equation. He wants to drop the eligibility age for Medicare from 65 to 60. It will be dropped. I don't know where. Then the clean energy provision, that's a Joe Manchin provision, definitely out. That's why we have a recon. That's why we have a deal. That was taken out over a week ago, exclusive on this channel, and that is why Joe Manchin came to negotiation tables. It was a non-starter. It got out. What about the Bernie provision, dental, vision, hearing care? It is staying in there. Bernie went said lifetime, not going to be lifetime, and the fight over that is one of the biggest fights with the family care. Which brings us to the third add-on, those MSE IRS stimulus checks. The third add-on, we know a little bit more about this today, which is really what a legislator who is a Democratic House member from Florida, said yesterday, not in regards to MSCs, but in regards to this whole process in general, is that she basically said, her quote's coming up later in this video, "No one's asked me what I want. I have some opinions, and if you don't insert them, I'm going to insert them." So that's how MSCs work. Remember, I haven't covered this much on this channel in a while, so let me do it right now. These negotiations to get a recon agreement done this week and then get it to a bill format to get ready for vote next week, who negotiates it? Everyone? No way. It's negotiated by Pelosi, Schumer, the president, and then Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, and then Bernie sporadically. That's the highest echelon of the Democratic Party. They come to the agreement for everyone else. Then Richard Neal is then tasked to go write it up. Well, what about, the representative from down the street? She was not called into any of the discussions. Her opinion was never asked. That's when she brings her amendment. When we introduce it on a House bill, potentially by the end of next week, that House member says, I was not part of the negotiations, I have something I want to insert, then she introduces it by amendment. And if she has enough support, it gets in there. Well, that's what AOC, Omar, and Jalapal, and certainly Pelosi have said about that MSC. We also have on the Senate side. Schumer, Bernie, Liz Warren, she's not part of the negotiations. Ron Wyden, he's not part of the negotiations. And Chris Coons, not part of the negotiations. If they insert the provision, they can do it during vote-a-rama. And that vote-a-rama is so critical. The senators have a big, wide opportunity to add things in there, and they have. Under third stimulus, the forgiveness of student loan debt was to be taxable until the vote-a-rama. Chuck Schumer and Liz Warren saw a big problem. She's good with her numbers, and she said, if we forgive student loan debt, it's taxable. The forgiveness of student loan debt means you have to pay $20,000, $30,000 to IRS right away out of your own pocket. And she said, we need to pass a change to the code that says, no, you don't. And she did during vote-a-rama. That's why vote-a-rama on the Senate is so important. Which brings us to the final and most important equation for those MSC checks, which is advocacy. It's important to understand that this recon will pay you about $15,000 to start. But as to the IRS monthly stimulus check, there is the House bill, maybe not in there, the House vote, putting it in there before the vote. Then the Senate side, a lot of pushing and a lot of advocating. And this is what the message says for the number one legislator, his chief of staff. Now we have in total between congressional senator offices received more contacts of advocacy from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition. They now have a better understanding of what Americans have been through this pandemic. They have heartbreaking stories, and they have you, the voice of the people, LA. Across the nation, you've become too loud to be ignored. Very, very kind. Let's read that last sentence together on air. Please continue your advocacy because you, as the professional voice of the people, you have become allied, and continue this until this becomes law. Thank you so much. So what is it basically saying? Advocate. Don't stop, because when you see the House bill debuted, that ain't the finish line. They can still add things on the House side before the House vote. They can still add things on the Senate side before the Senate vote. And the second half of this video, we go over these recon provisions that will pay you upwards of about $15,000 and what is happening next. A deal is likely upon us already, with 90% of the recon done. Richard Neal representing all the policy issues are done. What is the price tag and how long are the programs going? Then which programs are in and which ones are out? And then what about student loan debt? Could $10,000 be accepted as a new debt forgiveness? I have the latest details. And then fifth stimulus heating up across the board. Finally, the big Allied anniversary tomorrow. What have we learned about ourselves and our community as a whole? I look back on the first year and a half of this channel and 140 million views and what it tells about us going forward. More about that as an early morning's LA continues. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds, but here first is the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on evenings on early mornings LALATE as boy, big details as programs in and programs out. I'll go over which programs survived the negotiations yesterday and which programs could still get modified today. Expect a very fluid news cycle today. They are still in town, they're still negotiating, but a deal is happening. It absolutely will happen, and it may, in essence, be functionally done already. All the latest update. The Price is Right. Somewhere between 1.7 to 2 trillion. What does it mean for you? Student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven. Whose debt is next? Then, this stimulus heating up, and we have big news about this for the first time in several weeks. Then, as we look back over the first year and a half of this channel, what we've learned as a family, I have a look back and a look forward about the situation over this duration. And with that, I'm so excited for you to join me on this early morning's broadcast. So with that, subscribe. A 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Hit that button right now. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Join me next on Overnight's Crypto, currently playing on this channel. Then, 7 o'clock will be morning's countdown, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then I'm back with you live on air at 9 a.m. with the latest update that may have happened after the time of this broadcast. And boy, expect an update as well. And with that, let's turn to the excitement across the board with this negotiations. Here we go. So, the president spoke Thursday night going into Friday morning, and then more updates came in from Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, and also Chuck Schumer late yesterday. Let's go over all the details of them right now. So, it looks like that the recon is, in essence, functionally done by the time of this Sunday. But how much of it? It depends on who you ask. Pelosi says 90% of it's done and even written. And then Richard Neal says all the policy is done. Some of the revenue still needs to be done. Let's go over all the details. There are many decisions to be made, and more than 90% of everything is agreed to and written, said Pelosi late Friday. We're exuberant with many points of views, and we build our consensus, and we get this done. This is after Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi had a meeting with the president early Friday. The comments came later on Friday. Then Richard Neal said it a little bit differently. He said that all the policy, all the programs had already been agreed upon. We've already agreed upon the policy outcomes. Now we're just trying to find a path on the revenue side, which is like the taxes. This is the ninth inning. Do I agree with Richard Neal? No. Do I think he knows what he's talking about? No. I think there are some policy negotiations still going on, and not even talking about the add-ons. I'm just talking about, paid family leave and dental vision. He's not part of the negotiation, so I think he is being a little bit too robust, as he often is. Then he also says the conversations continue. Which conversations? Well, he's basically saying all the programs have been agreed upon. We just need to do the revenue, which brings us to the question, what revenue? That is how to pay for this. The president really took an interesting path over the last few months, and we learned a little bit more about it today. The president was going to pay for the recon by raising corporate taxes. I mean, 9,000 videos about that. 25%, 28%. You saw all the videos. Then he wanted to raise the rich person taxes, the billionaires' taxes. You saw 1,000 videos about this on this channel. Unbeknownst to me, unbeknownst to you, early in the negotiations, Kristen Sinema said not doing billionaires' taxes or corporate tax change. Find something else. Somewhere, someone in this administration was very stubborn because they did not hear that and kept on telling Sinema, change your opinion, change your opinion. She said, no, I'm not going to do it. She held her ground. Then, this last week, as early as potentially yesterday, someone in the administration found other ways to do this without corporate tax rates being raised and without billionaires' taxes. Those other provisions are closing loopholes on taxes, domestic to corporate, international corporate, and tax enforcement, all of which Kristen Sinema said yes. You think that maybe the president should have found that out months ago and just gone with it? There's a reoccurring theme you're going to see in this video where a lot of these things I just looking at, I'm like, could have done this months ago. Why did you just sort of become stubborn and say, do it, do it, do it? And she said, no, no, no. And you could have done it another way. Very unclear. Then Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, who's always great. He always gives you sort of, we're going to vote in the next 20 minutes. Put your coffee down. He says, I'm hoping we're going to get it done. I was hoping there would be going to be a deal for the last 3 months. He's saying that, with a little bit of humor. But he says, we've been working pretty hard, and the objective was to get this done by Friday. And if it's ready, we're going to get both the recon and the roads and bridges to a vote this coming week. Then one of the quotes, which is great for us, sort of shows you sort of how this all works, is from Representative Stephanie Murray, who's out of Florida, who basically says, I'm not part of the negotiations. I have stuff I want to put in there. I'm going to put my stuff in there. I love it. That's very MSC-ish. While there's significant focus on Senate members, House members have a distinct perspective on the bill, and I think it would be really wise to engage with me. Not get engaged to her, engage with her. We need to make sure that everyone's concerns are heard and addressed, including mine. That's basically how she's saying it. I love it. The president had appeared on broadcast media, yes, on Thursday, CNN Town Hall, which, there sort of was a Dodger game on. Would you rather watch the Dodgers and the Braves or hear about Kristen Sinema? Yeah, I'd rather watch the Dodgers and the Braves. So the president was appearing on broadcast media talking about Kristen Sinema, which is, it's just a big ratings draw. Never. The president said Kristen Sinema will not raise any money for corporate taxes or wealthy people. So I'm finding alternatives. Oh, wow. So you're finding the alternatives right now. Was there anyone in the town hall that asked the president, why didn't you just figure that out months ago? I would have done that. I was, can I have a question? Why didn't you just do this months ago? When she told you no then, who was the stubborn person in the group? Was it the guy from Yale that leans on the wall that said, no, try to convince her otherwise? And she said, no, 5 months in a row, no. And then you found something else. Yeah, I don't understand why he did this. Then the president said, I'm pretty good at putting deals together. I've been a senator for 370 years. Not a good joke among my viewers, where we've been waiting 370 years for this bill. So then, my favorite part of the entire the town hall with the viewers was where the president of the United States blamed the inability to get the dental, vision, and hearing done on Joe Manchin. While Joe Manchin is against it, it's the president who's against it for more than 3 years. That's coming up in a second. So a new CBS poll says Americans have no idea what's in the recon. After that CNN town hall where no one was watching, I think it's actually now less. I think it's actually worse. It's now like 99% don't know about the recon. They tuned in. They're like, what recon? And the Democrats are trying to solve this problem. The price is right. Where would this recon be? It will likely be somewhere between 1.7 to 2 trillion, which doesn't concern you because that's going to mean the programs are anywhere from, they're going to average on about 4 or 5 year programs, but that doesn't mean all the programs are going to be 5 years. Some programs will be 1, some programs will be longer. The president's being very decisive now, says Representative Debbie Dingell, Democrat of Michigan. To which I would say, so he wasn't decisive before? I love these quotes. It's a quote to how great he is now. So what does that mean? He wasn't great before? I think we're going to get it done this time. Meaning she didn't think it was going to get done before. I think there's a real consensus this time, says Patty Murray. And so which provisions are in and which provisions are out? Get that pen and paper ready. I know it feels like Twister stimulus style. But get your feet and hands ready. We're going to put our hands on the red, green, and the blue, orange and see which is in and out. Community college, it's either 0 or 2 years. It ain't gonna be longer than that. So don't take the class on War and Peace. You won't finish it. Jalapal told us it was out on Wednesday morning. Then Nancy heard my recording about Jalapal saying it's out, and Nancy said, "Who said that?" It's still in there. Nancy said, "News to me. That's not a decision." Nancy Pelosi also, when asked whether the paid leave is out, she said, "I've changed more diapers than anyone in this room." Yeah, but how much do those diapers cost? Because the paid leave is about $1,700 a week. It's very expensive. So I don't know what she's doing with that one. It's not like you could do paid leave indefinitely. Lifetime paid leave. It's very, very expensive. Where are the big likely cuts? So childcare credits really getting butchered, as rightfully so. We have learned in the last 24 hours that 1 year of the $3,000 a child checks costs us in the recon $109 billion. Not a lot when it's a $2 trillion recon, but guess what? You start doing this multiple years, it's a fortune. One legislator featured on one of those shows recently where viewers just had a lot of jokes, said it would be a crime not to do it for 5 years. Okay, we're criminals. I got it. Tone it down a little bit. She wanted to spend $600 billion on this over 5 years. It would have taken 25% of your recon away and give it to people who are not born yet. Makes sense? No, it did not work. Thank goodness. So, childcare 1 year, $3,036. Obamacare subsidies staying in there. Medicare expansion staying in there. Then dental, vision, and hearing. I don't think I've ever said those 3 words so often in the last week of this channel. Dental, vision, and hearing. In there, but really making Bernie grind his teeth. Dental, vision, and hearing in there, but Bernie's grinding his teeth and about to poke out someone's eyes and is not hearing, and because they're not hearing him. What's going on? The president is going on CNN and blaming Joe Manchin on this, but insiders say the president has told Bernie, "I'm not doing this lifetime," which is what Bernie wants. The president said vouchers, to which Bernie said, "Shame on you. How dare you say that to me?" Voucher. I don't know what's bad about vouchers, but apparently it's horrible. And then the president said 3-year timeline. Let's do this for 3 years, which is, better than 1 year. So dental, vision, and hearing. So you have really good teeth going to the community college for 2 years. I don't understand the whole notion of why 3 years, why not 5 years? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Then the paid family leave and climate, still a battleground royale. Paid family leave, very, very expensive. $1,700 a week, $800 a week. I don't know how you do this. Do you do it for 1 year? You do it 5 years? You do it 4 years? You just do it for 3 years and then you figure it out again later on? That's what I'm assuming. The climate provision, okay, now this is another one where you just have to say, what are you talking about, Willis? As Gary Coleman would say, what are you talking about, Willis? The Clean Electricity Performance Program. All right. We now know why this recon is being discussed in October and should have been done in July. Because of the following. There's a provision in here called the Clean Energy Performance Program. It's one of the climate provisions. And early during the recon, Joe Manchin was presented this recon. And it was 3.5. He agreed to the recon procedural. No one told him at the time this provision was in there. Then they started doing the recon subs. This provision was debuted. He said, "No, I'm not doing the provision." Now we know why he didn't want to do the provision. The provision would basically take away the jobs, make unemployed all the coal miners of West Virginia overnight, which is a lot of people. One of Joe Biden's biggest constituents base, vast majority of the population of his state would be unemployed overnight. And while Joe Manchin understands that coal is not going to be our form of fuel going forward indefinitely, he didn't want something that would instantly, in the middle of a pandemic, make unemployed and potentially homeless his residents. So he said no. So what did the president do from that moment when that was revealed, potentially as early as maybe May or June? He said, keep it in, keep it in, keep it in, and keep it in. Because someone in that administration, I don't know if it was John Kerry, the climate czar, someone in that group said, have to keep it in. And Joe Manchin said, no, I will be thrown out of office in my state. I'm having people lose their homes and their jobs and everything in the middle of a pandemic. You don't need to do this right now, Mr. President. I understand we're going to phase out coal, but not now. And finally, someone just woke up in the last week, said, take it out. And it took it out, and then Joe Manchin came to the table. Joe Manchin was really demonized because of this, and we didn't know why. We thought he was holding up the recon. Kristen Sinema holding up the recon. In fact, we now learn that Kristen Sinema said, I don't want to raise corporate taxes. And the president had alternatives. He did not look at those alternatives until now. That Joe Manchin said, I don't want to do this provision because it'll cost millions and millions of people's jobs. And the president could have taken it out then. He didn't. Very, very strange. Salt, bad for you. Like delay. Salt is coming out. The cap on state and local tax deductions coming out. And then community college, totally free, 0 to 2 years across the board. We have a real battleground, and the battleground is the dental, vision, and hearing care, and also the climate. But the situation is we're making good progress. We have the intent. We just have to make sure the intent matches what we agreed upon. Who said that? Joe Manchin, which is true. It's Richard Neal writing it, and Richard Neal was not really in the meetings. So you always have to worry about where someone who's not in the meetings writing up the recon. And there you go. Very exciting. What do I think? I think that today is going to be a very big news cycle day. So you know how sometimes Saturdays and Sundays are slow. This should not be slow. We will see very quickly on this Saturday and this Sunday if they're negotiating what has changed. It feels a little bit like unfinished business. And I don't think Richard Neals is correct when it says all the policy is done. They're not all done. And I don't even mean about the add-ons. I mean, Nancy said it's not all done. So I think there is some negotiating. And I think that they would negotiate this weekend because why? They got incredible stuff done. You may only need a few more hours, let alone 2 more days. Student loan debt forgiveness, more debt should be forgiven. And boy, this should be a big win for the president going into the holidays. And the win should be given to him by Liz Warren. The president has offered an additional $10,000 of student loan debt be forgiven across the board by executive order. And the Democrats aren't taking it because they want $50,000. Take the 10. Take the 10 and just say, hey, if I want to come back and negotiate with you to get more later on, we can do more later on. President over a year has said, I'm not doing 50. But the 10 is a great offer because it would at least reduce that burden for viewers, for students or former students during the holidays of those debts. The president forgave 3 other loans of debts in the last few days. First, he forgave student loan debts about a month ago for people who became disabled after graduation. Second, he forgave student loan debts for individuals who went into the nonprofit sector for 10 years after graduation. Number 3, the president forgave student loan debts for individuals who went into the public sector 10 years after graduation. This is your city, your county, your state, your federal government. Why not? Absolutely wonderful. That is a game changer. A lot of people who work for the public schools, they never make enough money to pay off their student loan debt. Sanitation, public works, this is wonderful. That final $10,000 should be taken. COLA. You may have heard about the COLA raise, but have you heard about the fifth stimulus? You haven't, unless you're a viewer of this channel. Fifth stimulus comes right behind COLA, and boy, we have a big update about fifth stimulus right as the COLA was announced. COLA is announced by Social Security Administration. Your benefits are going up an average of 5 to 6% lifetime starting next year, but that's just then. Get ready for fifth stimulus right behind it. One of the big legislators met with Nancy Pelosi this week and said, let's get ready for fifth stimulus right after the 4th. And she said, yes. House Budget Chair John Yarmuth met with Nancy Pelosi, and he said, let's do this because it's good for the American people, and it's big for the midterm elections. And she said, I love it. Deliciousness. What is his idea? His idea is do a lot of money for seniors and Medicare and certain social services like that. Do it by recon. Have all the Democrats sign on, have all the Republicans vote against it, get the checks out to the American people and say, hi, I'm a Democrat. I got you that money via recon. And the Republicans didn't want to raise your Social Security benefits. You want to vote for them? Go ahead. And that's what his idea is. I think it's a brilliant strategy, and I think it's perfect timing. Force Republicans to vote against it. by recon, like Medicare expansion or child care, or senior care, depending on what we decide to put in the package. I don't see where the downside of this is in election year, because we'll be trying to get things done that are very popular. Absolutely. So how is this fifth stimulus? What does it involve? First, it'll raise your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits. Then it'll apply a new benchmark. The new benchmark is inflation. That new benchmark of inflation will be 1 to 3% next year. So you're going to get 3 lifts across the board. First, you're going to get this one. Raise your benefits up, then fifth stimulus, go up higher with that one-time step up, and then a new benchmark next December, a third step up. They're going to remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't stay on benefits. It's going to go away. Remove the income cap, saying that you can't work and stay on benefits. It's going to go away. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to end, and love is going to win, and you'll be able to do a pair dance and get married and no longer fear loss of benefits like Rob and Sandy. What's important to understand is that his timing, what I didn't realize until just at the time of this recording, is that his comment, Yarmouth, is brilliant. Why? Because a lot of the news that I delivered in fall of this year said that the president was looking at this big Social Security reform to the system, SSI and SSDI reform, as the second year of his administration, that you get 1, 2 recon successes. The third stimulus recon is success, the fourth stimulus recon success, and then you come back with a big whammo right before the midterms, the third recon success. And this is perfect timing. It really just lines up well. Which brings us to the 1.5 year anniversary of this channel tomorrow. This channel turns 1.5 years tomorrow. Can you imagine? As I look back on it over the last week, I've been recording something different every video, every day, about what we have learned from this family and what we have learned about ourselves over that 1.5 years. It was very hard to press record on the very first video. It was very, very hard. I have made jokes about it that people thought I was kidding. No, it took a few beverages for me to go on camera. Just a couple. And when I was on that beach, yes, it was hard. Shyness is upon all of us, and you should never feel shy. Don't ever feel that you will not be accepted. Don't ever feel that you're an outsider. Don't ever feel that you are not loved or not liked, because that will get the worst of you. It'll discourage you from trying something because you're looking for self-validation. Do things because you feel it's right for you. Do things because it makes you feel good. Do things because you enjoy doing it. Don't do it because you're looking for self-validation. Don't look at it because you're looking to the side to say, oh, how many people are on the live chat? Oh, there's only 2 people in the live chat. Okay, I'm not going to do this. Don't do it based upon the reactionary situation. Do it based upon how you feel doing it. A lot of people often have talked about in the last few months the great resignation of 2021, where a lot of people quit their jobs and went to do something else. I guess it took a pandemic for them to realize they didn't like what they were doing, and now they have found something else. Ultimately, you need to do something that makes you happy. You have to listen to something that you enjoy, and you have to do something that is that makes you feel good. What I always tell people is do things that make you feel good about the situation. Don't do things that make you feel uncomfortable. Now, there's always someone who likes to go to amusement park rides and do those roller coasters and scream and just blow their ears out. There's always someone who likes to go to a horror movie and just get scared the whatever out of them. But that is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about day in, day out. Find comfort in simple little things. And that comfort can come from a particular cup of coffee you like, a cup of tea that you like, or maybe you just really enjoy watching cat videos after recording YouTube videos all day. Yeah, I do. So just find that comfort zone in what you find comfort in after a hard day. And when you find that comfort zone and you find that inner peace, then people see that you're at peace. There's always someone that jumps into one of the chats somewhere every day that says, I'm just feeling a lot of anxiety from this. I'm just feeling a lot of anxiety. I just want to tear my shirt off. I'm like, I got orchids behind me. I don't have like spiked, I don't have spiked swords and samurai equipment behind me. I'm trying to keep it a very pleasant, relaxing video. I mean, there's a blue thing coming over here right at the moment on this side. There's just relaxing things. I could have, windmills outside if that help you relax, but you should never bring anxiety to the situation. And hopefully. Hopefully you see the element of a live chat. The element of a live chat is to feel comfort. Over the last year, it has been a learning curve for me to understand the reason of a live chat. And there are a lot of channels that never have had a live chat, never even thought of a live chat. Don't even think it's good to have a live chat. Don't even think that there should be chats. And I didn't understand it at first. I didn't understand how it worked or what the functionality of it is. And, when you're on air and you're recording and there's 20 people in the room talking about the lasagna they had, then you may say, why are they talking about the lasagna? But then I realized, wait a second, let them talk about the lasagna because they're finding their inner peace. They can listen to you and also talk about their lasagna. They can listen to you and also talk about their rodents they raise, or their crayons they're throwing at people in the room. They can talk about several other subjects while listening to you. And initially I thought, how dare them talk about crayons while I'm talking on camera? How dare them? And then I realized, wait a second, that's the sense of a community. Because tomorrow next video, when you come back in, you say, how was the lasagna? I burnt it. Why'd you burn it? Because I was too focused on the crayons being thrown at me. Remember, find that inner peace, find that happiness, find that sanctuary, and that's why live chats have worked on this channel. Happiness and sanctuary comes with a familiar face, and I appreciate all the familiar faces, and I'm sure you have as well. A lot of people have said it was because of me that a lot of you found each other and have found that comfort finding one another. And when you disappear and reemerge after a day or two, then you say, hey, I'm back. One person in the afternoon show yesterday say, I was in the hospital, I just got back, and I said, hey, good to see you. I haven't seen her in a few days. So that is the benefit of a community. Find inner peace in your sanctuary and join me tomorrow as this channel turns a year and a half. And with that, subscribe. We got a lot of shows coming up today, so don't miss them. We have morning's countdown at 7 o'clock. We have morning's LALATE live on air at 9. Then we have noontime at 11 a.m. A lot of shows across the board, and we got full slate of shows later in the day with afternoons as well. And with that, make sure you subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member because the toast is toasting, the butter is butter, and have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next on LALATE.